Hello everyone. Welcome to the Singapore Geospatial Week Plus 2020, an event organized by GeoWorks, Singapore's Land Authority Geospatial Industry Centre. We are pleased to bring to you 2 weeks full of geospatial webinars spanning various industry tracks and international speakers. Today, we are excited to introduce Camiel from Digital Blue Foam to share more about the agile digital transformation of the post-pandemic AEC. If you have any questions during the webinar, please leave them at the Q&A chat box and we will answer them at the end of the webinar. Thank you, and without further ado, I will now pass the presentation to Camiel. Camiel, please. Hi, Camiel. I think we cannot hear you.
Can you
we
hear
can
me
hear
now?
you now.
Yeah.
Yep, great.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead. Thank you.
I think it was just loading. Thank you for the kind introduction. I'm super excited to be part of the Geospatial Week. So my name is Camiel Weijenberg. I'm a Dutch architect, and we run a design studio in Singapore, and we've built Digital Blue Foam coming out of that, which is a company that helps to speed up the work process for anyone in the AEC industry with bringing online tools and making these available for everyone as part of our signups. Hang on, I'll just share my screen with you. So with Digital Blue Foam, we're boosting the productivity by 75% for anyone in the AEC industry. We do this by having a web tool that bases their information on the geolocation. So wherever you are, your site will start with the information and the contextual information that we bring for you through our tool. So this is our online tool. We're doing this because we saw in our architecture studio that there is a lot of missed information in the design process. So what Digital Blue Foam does is, after you select your site, bring in that information, generate a building, and looking at the contextual conditions of the site: sun, rain, wind, programmatic conditions in the site, and build a 3D context for you automatically. So we're really looking to help speed up the early stages of the design process based on information. So you can work more clearly and quickly with your customers to develop the brief and variations and options. I'll show you a short video. So here there's a urban district generated through our tool, again based on information and data that comes from the site. Inputs are given and live from the site. You can bring in 3D terrain, bring in the sun, wind, rain. You see here, you don't need to go, you just need to press buttons like sun and wind, and they'll load it for you. Really easy. And that is our main goal: make it easy, make it available. You can then also run a series of tests and options. So if you want to draw a road and see how that comes out, building, if you all in outputs of data, tools to rotate, flip. It's a bit extreme, but it shows you that it's really easy just to click on a volume and different room. So of course you want to compare and evaluate options. So we show different prices. Then you can do also you can base your decisions on information. You can then download all this information to Excel or other programs. It's incredible. This visuals automatically like a visual environment, so we can just download all these visuals instantly. You can bring it into Rhino, you can bring it into your BIM software. You can use all the information at minutes to start from develop model and ultimate further ideas and you can run a lot of iterations conversations with your clients and your team members on what you want to develop. So this is Digital Blue Farm, and this is our core sort of understanding and business and drive for making an impact on the AEC industry. We have sort of 5 main goals why we started this. Firstly, because AEC is the second least digitized industry after agriculture. Of course, finance is the highest digitized industry. The AEC industry produces about 39% of global CO2 emission, which is staggering, and this needs to change. In the next 20 years, 2 billion people will be moving in the city, and there are a lot of viral disease and impact on space. How we move, how we interact, it's incredibly important for spatial design. And then we want to streamline workflows and have a horizontal integration instead of having the silos between the different work categories. So what are we really improving? So typically people will go to a site, they will then manually bring in information on sun, wind, rain, local conditions, right? And they'll then pass it on to facade or construction engineer. So these are very silo driven. What we're proposing is that we just have a shorter time process of that, where you can draw these variations more quickly and have a more conversational process instead of working one by one. And this is automated as a goal to assist everyone in the AEC industry further. We're not looking to replace, we're just trying to make the process more optimum. One of our customers, Digital Blue Foam, is the best feasibility study they know. So how do we do it? We have 5 key principles that we work with. Everything has to be data driven. We work with design augmentation, which means our tool is extremely easy to use and everything that is difficult is done on our side. So if you want to do a solar analysis, you just have to click on the sun. We've done the rest for you. If you want sustainability and resilience, you can again press a button and check that. It is based on cloud computing, so there's no limit on how much we can calculate or what we want to calculate. Of course, some things will take more time, but typically it's really fast. Seamlessly connect to existing workflows. So bring the data back straight into your work process. AutoCAD, Rhino, SketchUp, BIM, Excel, Photoshop. It's pretty much all there for you to continue working. And build the friendliest tool in the industry. So very low learning curve, very easy to adopt. You don't need to install anything. You can just log in online. We will take care of the updates. You won't even notice these kind of variations. Digital Blue Foam, because Blue Foam is coming from the original massing models of sites and how you would look and study at objects. And we brought that online, and we call it obviously Digital Blue Foam because we bring a lot of data and information to this process. You can do multi-phase, larger developments. You can have high definition contextual data. You can work on a range of building typologies. Here just an example of a few letters of geometry typologies. You can also see these 50-50-50. These are variations, so you can tweak the slab depth. And again, the algorithm will then run different variations for you. Here we have a few letters or variation typologies highlighted, but of course you can just click any of them and it'll just work with those. as again, we export to various programs, IFC, CAD, Excel, SketchUp. Some of it we can work on a live stream, so it will automatically plug into the existing workflows. Live, so if you would change it online, it would change on your desktop tool as well. So what we've done in the last 4 or 5 months is that we re-looked at our code and how can we adapt this to a sort of COVID space planner where we sort of look at risk areas and assess things of normality and maybe where we can address things to change them. Again, we do this on data and we do this with cloud computing because this is an extremely important part of that. That is not just on your desktop, but we are online because some of this is fairly intense to run, and being online helps us to deliver that quicker. We are an enterprise software for this particular product, so people have to sign up with us specifically, and we will work on a project with them directly. Here's some examples of flow studies that we've done in buildings, that we look at density and how people might move through the spaces and therefore address risk zones. And again, we show this in a sort of more planned view. We're working with a company called Ingrid Cloud, where we look at the movement of air and we simulate the movement of air. And we overlap that with the movement of people, and therefore we can address risk areas more precisely. Again, these are some of the sort of more familiar studies by now, where people have assessed risk areas and why these risk areas are there. And we're just looking to base as much of our decision making and assistance on existing studies. This is, of course, a very well-known restaurant study with airflow movement. So we're very much basing our sort of tool on as much as information that we can find and that we work with. So returning to normality, where we help our customers address needs in terms of, can we maybe trickle people to come into the space? Can we just maybe use spaces differently? Can we change the entrances? Can we change the location of particular interior programs? Right? Can we highlight certain risk zones? Can we avoid those if we change some of the interior around maybe? So we have sort of 3 main philosophies: separate, distribute, and filter, where we look at how we work with flows, where people are placed, and filter is more like a timely, where we look at reducing density in certain areas of the day. Of course, we want to visualize that for our customers and everyone that works with us, and show that in terms of the plan and how that can be addressed. And here show a simple variation of on the left how it's existing, and on the right maybe with slight alteration and a change of density, how it could look like. So typically 50% of our customers save at least 1 week on a 2 to 3 week project. And we work with our customers typically on pilot projects for these COVID space planner studies. These are very intense to run, and we're looking to help people directly on those. It's not a tool that we have online yet, but it's something that we are exploring to work towards too. And for now, we're working with clients directly. So we identify relevant people to work with, demonstrate and refine our solutions. And typically we see a lot of interest for the larger spaces where people are very interested to go back to normality. So airports, malls, government centers, larger buildings that need a lot of sort of movement of people and study of airflow. And of course, we create visualizations and demonstrate maybe certain safety and densities to our customers. So we look at, we've adapted our sort of pedestrian simulation from an urban level to an interior level. And we help to validate current layouts of buildings, and maybe draw up new layouts, or if you want to test new layouts, and then we animate these layouts and how people move through these spaces. So the objective is really to redefine layouts, make sure they are safe, and help to address safety areas. So we suggest maybe improvements of changes, or just highlight where risk areas are. And of course, we do this through analyzing the spaces, typically in 3D and in 2D for movement of people. But 3D is very helpful for the analyzing of airflow. If you have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with us on hello@digitalbluefoam.com, and we'll get in touch with you there. And I think we have a bit of time now for questions.
Yeah. Hi everyone. So if you have any questions, please use the Q&A chat box. You can key in your questions there, and we have about 10 minutes to answer your questions.
Great, just nice maybe.
Yeah. So maybe I can start off with the first question. Just really
Okay.
curious. Previously, you mentioned that due to the COVID situation, Digital Blue Foam was able to do the analysis for like the airflows of certain restaurants. Could you explain a little more of how do you come up with this kind of simulations? How do you come up with this kind of data?
Yeah, so we're working with one of the best companies in airflow simulation, which is Ingrid Cloud. And with them, we look at the layout of spaces. So we help them to adjust movement of people while they look at how air moves. And we overlap these two technologies, and we look at the risk areas that then are sort of highlighted.
I see. So I think in the case of Singapore, because right now we are also in the midst of trying to do all the safe distancing and ensure that everyone is safe when they're dining out. So how do you think this can be applied for like restaurants if they want to come on board this kind of technology? How do they approach you to understand
So
more?
yeah, so typically we honestly do look at restaurants as well. The customers will contact us directly, and we look at the plan. We look at how people move. Will people be stuck sort of at the entrance, or will people be stuck in certain parts of the restaurant where everybody sort of crosses over? And then we look at the airflow inside the restaurant.
I see.
But we mainly also look at larger buildings when there are sort of congested areas at the lift area or at the printer area where there's always a lot of people. There's of course over a longer period of time where there's more risk. And therefore, time is a really important factor to simulate.
I see. Okay, I think we have a couple of questions from the audience. So
Great.
the first question is, what are the most common use cases that digital blue foam tends to be used for?
For our urban analysis, we work actually in quite a lot of different countries. We work from buildings that are 3,000 square meter up to 3 million square meter, and that's of course a couple of buildings altogether. For a COVID space planner, we actually are now working with a few interior spaces that are over 1,000 square meter each, because there are just a lot more people, and there's a lot more interest in that sense in terms of finding out exactly where the risk areas are. In very small spaces, there's often very limited things that you can do.
Okay, thank you. The next question is, are these standard tools available or are the solutions custom made for clients?
Digital Blue Foam is available. It's a working product that we are selling, and people can sign up through digitalbluefoam.com for our COVID space planner. We work directly with our customers, and people should get in touch with us through hello@digitalbluefoam.com. And we're happy to assess and help customers further from there.
I think it's also linked to the next question. Can the software be hosted on premise?
Meaning, so if I understand the question correctly, maybe that on premise means that it will be maybe licensed to them and they would use it there. It's something we can explore, something we should definitely look into. And again, we're looking to help our customers and also return to normality. So if you can get in touch with us directly, we will do our best to help you further with that.
Okay, thank you. There's another question from Julie. Who are the most interested by the airflow simulations? Is it the owners or the facilities of the HAVC engineering firm that designs the network?
So typically on existing buildings, the HVAC, where the aircon, the airflow is coming from, is fixed. So to change that is typically very difficult and costly. So by looking at making small alterations on the space, or maybe close or open certain ventilation points, adjustments can be made. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, and we have another question. So besides buildings, has this solution have been used on airplanes?
That's a very good question. No, we have not. That's quite a strong industry, and I'm sure they're very motivated to find it. We're definitely open to explore that.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other questions from the floor?
I'm just reading through the questions again, see if I answered everything properly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think what might be very interesting also to share is that the sort of the analysis from urban routing, what we find is really interesting, how it can sort of scale back to an interior space where we still look at programs, but it's more the programs that are inside the building and how people maneuver. So I think that's something that was really sort of surprising to us and very interesting to sort of learn and explore further, which we have, of course. Yeah.
Okay, I think if there are no other questions, then we will kind of close the webinar today. So before we go, we'd like to thank Camiel so much for sharing with us more about the work.
Thank you for having us. Yeah.
Yep, that Digital Blue Foam does is certainly very interesting. So thank you all for tuning into the webinars and for all the engaging questions.
Oh,
there's
one more question. Yeah. That's a really good question, and it's something that's really high on our list. So with Digital Blue Foam, sustainability is really high on our list. By looking at a building early on in the design process, just by simply looking at its orientation, which facades get heat, you can make tremendous positive impact in how the building will be used and how much CO2 that building will produce in the future over a very long period of time. Yeah, I think that happy to take any questions. So feel free to email us with any questions you have.
Okay, thank you so much, Camiel. So for the rest of the audience, if you'd like to tune into our other webinars, please scan the QR code and join the conversation using the hashtag SGGeoWeek. We have still one more week of Singapore Geospatial Week, so please sign up if you get to do so. Thank you, and we hope to see you again. Thanks, Camiel.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for having us.
Stay safe.
Bye.